Hello, I'm Hannah from the Lethbridge Transparency Council, and I'm here interviewing Mark Campbell, a city council candidate with the Lethbridge municipal election. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Well, I am going to get started right away here. So what do you think needs improvement in the processes of city council and administration, and how would you make these improvements?
Well, I would have to say that in my time on council, those things have already started to improve. Over the course of 4 years, we've gone through 5 city managers. That's just the way it was. So we've got a new city manager that has come in now, and that's one of the things that he is really trying to bring to the table is more communication, a better understanding of how everything works. And we've got some new administration that's just joined the team, and I'm really excited about some of the new people that have come on board. They're not from the city. They've come in from other parts of the country, and they bring a wealth of really innovative ideas and thoughts. And I'm really looking forward to that. And you know, the whole point of these people is they want to bring their ideas to council and let us, you know, give them the feedback that is so crucial to moving forward with council. So yeah, I think we're on our way.
Yeah, people are certainly very important to the process. So it's really good when you have an administration and people in council that work together. What recommendations would you make to engage more citizens in the city's municipal development plan and process?
Well, the municipal development plan, specifically, if you're talking about that was 2 years in the making, and you know, I have to just say that did an amazing job. And it wasn't just a matter of overnight. Okay, let's talk about this. As I said, 2 years in the making. They emailed over 125 stakeholders saying what kind of changes they want, or how they want to deal with the MDP, and you know, the number of engagement sessions that took place. So I really think the city did a great job of letting stakeholders and the public know that there was going to be some adjustments to our plan. Not to mention, we also had a public meeting, and the public meeting was very informative. And then there was you know, a number of stakeholders said, what about this? How can we change this? And there were amendments made. There was some consultation, and really the city and other stakeholders really worked together, and hopefully it got the compromises that we need.
It's really good when you can have feedback and have that be implemented. That's really important. What do you think the top 3 issues are in the community, and what would you plan on doing to address these issues?
Well, it continues to be housing is an issue. Homelessness and housing certainly is a big issue, and we have to continue to advocate with provincial governments. We need to create partnerships with both provincial and federal governments, along with stakeholders here in the city, to figure out how we can delve into this. The homeless and the you know, the drug issue, homelessness, drug issue continues to be a big part of the city's social problems. We also have you know, and this is I've talked about this in the past about the recent public hearing that we had regarding rezoning and some buildings that we have that are already there, but with the desire to rezone them to help some of the social issues that we have. And of course, there's a lot of you know, backlash in those areas. And so we had a huge public hearing that lasted well into midnight. And what came out of that was impassioned people on both sides of the situation. And all of these people are all willing to get together and figure things out. And that's what has been created. So there is a committee formed to see if we can work out those issues. That's one of the big ones. Continuing on with that, we also need to create a more business in the city. We need more businesses that actually pay taxes, and we've talked about this many times, that some of the big employers in the city don't pay property tax. We need more of that, more non-residential tax base. And one thing that I was just thinking about in the last little bit, with the announcement that Bigelow Fowler Clinic is shutting down, and that we're going to have a real doctor problem in this city. We're going to lose doctors, and there's going to be people that have no place to go. So that, while it's not necessarily a city issue, I think we really got to sit down and say, what are we going to do about this doctor shortage? So that's going to be a combination of city and provincial governments and saying, how do we attract doctors? What is the reason why doctors are leaving? What are the reasons that doctors won't come here? And if the city can help on that, I think that's going to be a big issue moving forward.
Yeah, I think during the pandemic, having availability to healthcare is really important. And I know even through my own experience, trying to find a family doctor and my partner finding a family doctor is really difficult. So it's certainly something that we all can agree needs to be addressed.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but what would you want to do to create a good environment for business in Lethbridge?
Well, there's work on that. There's some incentives, some building incentives for people coming in. I know that the economic development is really working hard. We've attracted Cavendish. That's huge. And I'm a big fan of Trevor Lewington and economic development and the work that they do, and that is continuing. And anything more that we can do as far as creating, again, I say this all the time, but relationships are leadership. And if we create understanding and the same message between economic development, the Chamber of Commerce, and the message that we want to get out from the city of Lethbridge. I mean, one of the big things we've got going on is the food hub at the exhibition. I really think the potential is there to attract more business to Lethbridge, and I think that is really coming forward. And what other incentives can we have? Let's figure that out. I think we've got some in place right now, and I think we'll continue with that.
I'm very excited to see. I got to see a little sneak peek when I was at the exhibition earlier this month. So I'm very excited to see how that all rolls out. It's going to be really good for Southern Alberta.
I believe so, yeah.
So in the most recent MDP process, which obviously you were a part of, what decisions did you agree with, and what are some ones that you didn't?
Well, at some point you put your faith into people who have spent their livelihood in working on these sorts of things. So over the last 2 years, administration has come forward and created this living document that has been consulted with, that again, taken out stakeholders. And so I think what they've done has been amazing. So generally speaking, it's such a massive document. You just sort of have to say, well, I agree. I agree with what you've done. You've made some concessions in some places. So to say there's one specific thing that I liked or didn't like, I don't think that's really something that I could really put my finger on, other than if things change with the next council, if I should be on council, and there's something that's we're saying, you know what, that's not working, well then let's bring it forward and say we need to make an amendment on that. So I think there's been some great things that they have brought forward, and it's taken a long time to review that whole process, and a new MDP is just, I think they've done a phenomenal job in putting it together.
Yeah, it's certainly a really large document, so I can see how it, like a living document, right? It may need to be adapted here or there as things change and priorities change, for sure.
Yeah.
How do you plan on prioritizing transportation in the future for Lethbridge?
Well, I do love the idea of a walkable downtown. I think that creates a real positive environment. If we can create a walkable downtown, I think that would be wonderful. It's and there's things in place right now that will help us with that. So that's important. And there's a great biking community in this city too that is really striving to create more lanes. So I love the walkability. I love bicycles. I know we've got issues with our transportation right now as far as the buses go, and we have a 6-month pilot project which is creating a little bit of controversy. But let's give it 6 months and see if we have to change that. So I think those are kind of the two big things, or three. I guess we'll talk about walkability, bicycle paths, and public transportation.
Yeah, walkability is certainly something that I know other cities are focusing on as well.
Yeah.
You've got Stephen Ave in Calgary, and they're expanding that out as well. So certainly something that Lethbridge has to grow in that area.
It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell because we're drive the car to downtown, and I don't want to park less than a half a store away from where I'm going. So there is there's some changes in our attitudes that still need to come before that can be really envisioned.
Yeah, certainly with us kind of using vehicles to get around, we drive a lot in Lethbridge because of the river in the middle. So there's definitely different attitudes that will
we have to change. We need to change.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to finances, where do you think the city should be spending more money?
Spending more, well, I think try to create investment. Can we figure out a way to bring in investment? I mean, we're spending money right now, and that's with grants. Very important to get the airport up to snuff, and we've got a lot of grants in that way. So the airport is a big part of recovery. Also, again, as I mentioned, the food hub is big, and creating, if we can spend money on doing what's a way to invite businesses to come to Lethbridge, that's crucial. And we got to spend money on the things that we have that need to be fixed. Infrastructure and things that are old that need to happen. And so those are things that we need to spend money on and continue to improve the city.
Yeah, I know investment in economic development is one of those. Take some money to get money out, but it certainly has a pretty significant ROI.
Yeah.
So on the other end, where do you think the city should be reducing spending?
Well, KPMG did their report, and we've done a lot of that. We've revisited the budget, and we asked each sector to say 5 to 10%. Where can we do that? That was a tough go around. I got to tell you, that was tough. You've got what can you do without? And so that's what we did. It was quite an exercise, and that's never been done as far as I know in a long time, to revisit a budget and then to revisit it, to do some cutting, and to make sure that our municipal taxes stayed at 0% over 3 years. So that was quite an exercise. So that's what we certainly did.
Yeah, I know as a manager, it's always something nobody likes to hear when their budget gets cut, but oftentimes it's kind of a reality of how things need to go. So,
well, and being someone who has been on the end of come into my office, here's your letter, we're cutting you out, we're downsizing. So I have a big piece of my heart that goes out to people that when those tough decisions happen, it's I know what it's like.
Yeah, they certainly can have an impact. And so we all have to be cognizant of that for sure.
Yeah.
So what criteria do you recommend that the city examine prior to approving capital projects?
Well, I guess this is where the discussion is, and we spent a lot of time on capital improvement. What is necessary? What is important? What does the city want for our strategic plan? What makes sense? And that's what happened in the last capital improvement plan. A full week of that that we came up with. We saved. I think it was $10 million that we didn't spend. So the process that we had, I think it worked, and I think we came up with some really tangible projects. I think projects that will appease a lot of people as the time goes on.
Just for those of us watching, do you want to share a little bit more about what that process was like and kind of give a little bit of insight into that?
Well, that was certainly public. There was a number of projects, city people or things like pickleball people or wanting their own arenas and things like that. And there's a administration. Again, there's things that we absolutely need to have. when, things that, they're not sexy, but when they say we need an aquifer because we have to drink water, and that's going to cost $2.4 million. And this is regulated by the provincial or whatever government, and that's, I'm just using lingo that happens, that comes up, and so you have to balance what absolutely you have to have compared to what may be maybe something that that a lot of people want, and it follows in with our strategic plan to make it a better place to live. And so those are the things you have to weigh and make those decisions. And then ultimately, there's the majority rules, and those are the projects that ultimately we decided on. There was good discussion. We did change the way things are, because you do your CIP, and there's the operating costs. And so why is the CIP in a different election year than the operating costs? So that's being changed over the next period of time. So I think that was a good step that we made to figure out that you apparently you do have operating costs when you build something. So that's going to be built into it in the coming terms.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that insight. So you talked about this briefly just before. Is there anything in the capital improvement program that you're in favor of, a lot, or are there things that were in there that you weren't so sure we should be spending money on at this point?
No, you know what? I think we had the full week of negotiations. We talked about everything. We discussed the debate, and so I'm satisfied with what the decisions were made. And that's the thing about being on city council. You debate them, you make the decision. That's the decision. Simple as that. Now, again, as any council can do, when they say, that decision was wrong, moving forward, that can be brought up again before council, and you and your 4 friends can say, we're going to change that. That's the beauty of civic politics. I don't see that happening. I don't think. I think there were some really good projects that were created, but who knows? We'll see what happens in the next term.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see how it all plays out after the election, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark, for doing this interview. Is there anything else that you want to add, or want to let people know how they can get in touch with you?
Sure, you can certainly go to my website, reelectmarkcampbell.com, simple as that, or my phone number is on there. If you've got issues, by all means, send me an email, give me a call. I'm happy to talk to you, and looking forward to trying another 4 years and see if if we see if we can get rid of this COVID thing that keeps on popping up. That's been a real that's a game changer that we had. Drug crisis and COVID has just been it's been a tough go, and I hope we can put that all behind us. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Certainly one big sucker punch after another, I think, and
right.
we're all
Yeah.
we're all tired and ready to start moving on to. So hopefully council can start focusing on other things as we move forward. So
For sure.
Thank you again so much, Mark. I really appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.